Well, now it's happened. The House of Representatives has a new speaker. Unfortunately, he himself, Mike Johnson, is an election-denying psychopath from the MAGA. He called for $750 billion cuts to Social Security, $2 trillion cuts to Medicare, and $3 trillion cuts to Medicaid and the ACA. He wants to ban national abortion and ban gay marriage on the national level. He voted, and most importantly, he voted to overturn the 2020 election. New York Times called him the most important architect of Donald Trump's big lie. But I think a bigger lie was thrown at us today when he accepted the speakership. During his little spiel about how he loves America, blah, 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 yak, he said something that was pretty potent. Take a listen at this.
American conservatism, but let me concede to you all, I think it's really quintessentially the core principles of our nation. I boil them down to individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. Those are the foundations that made us the extraordinary nation that we are.
Those principles that make America the greatest country. Bullshit. And I say bullshit because the MAGA Republicans, they don't care about anything. The 7 things that this guy, that this idiot Johnson actually named out. But since they brought those up, let's talk about them, shall we? The 7 principles that make America the greatest country on earth. 1, individual freedom. The MAGA doesn't care about individual freedom. They never have. They never will. The MAGA right now, with Johnson especially, is trying to ban abortion across the board. Regardless of the woman's life is in danger, whether it's rape or incest. Don't matter. They're trying to ban freedoms for the LGBTQ across the board. Don't matter. Don't matter who they sleep with, who they identify as. You identify as that, you're a criminal in their eyes. And most importantly, they are working to try to take away freedoms from African Americans especially, and as other people of color, but particularly African Americans, particularly the right to vote. So individual freedom, you believe in individual freedom. You believe in that principle.
Fucking bullshit!
Limited government. You don't believe in limited government. You want a government that's not representative of the people. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been fighting for over 3 years after the 2020 election to protect the man who wants to become the first dictator of America, who would burn the Constitution if it suited his needs. So you don't care about so you don't want limited government. You want it all. And damn everyone else who even disagrees with you. Number 3, you said the rule of law. You don't care about that principle at all. Because as I said not too long ago, you're defending a man who has broken the law multiple times on multiple wavelengths. He is facing 91 charges. And the man I'm talking about, of course, is Donald Trump. He is facing 91 felony charges, any one of which could possibly put him out of the 2024 election, and some of them could put his ass in federal prison. Just today, he was fined another $10,000 for his conduct in the New York case. Hell, this guy is facing 91 charges, and people are ratting on him. This week alone, Sidney Powell, Kenneth Cheesebro, Jenna Ellis most recently, and just yesterday. His former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, are talking to investigators and prosecutors. Anyone with a lick of sense in this country or any kind of knowledge of the legal system would say this guy belongs in prison. This guy shouldn't be anywhere near the GOP. This guy should be away. This guy should be in jail. But you and the MAGA GOP have defended him for 3 straight years. In fact, if you want to be technical about it, you defended him the second he announced to be president. When he walked down that escalator and said Mexican immigrants brought drugs and they were rapists. That right there should have ended his presidential campaign. But you defended it because you believed in him. So, the rule of law...
Fucking bullshit!
You say you believe in peace through strength. What peace are you talking about? Are you talking about peace of the gun? Because that's never worked in any modicum of history. How did that work for the Nazis? How is that working for how that worked for Al Qaeda and ISIS? How is that working in Russia, who's losing the war in Ukraine? How is that probably going to work for Hamas, who's probably going to be annihilated by Israel? Peace through strength has never worked in history. Do I really need to go to the 5th one? Fiscal responsibility? My fucking ass. Fiscal responsibility. Donald Trump added trillions of dollars to the national debt, which you guys helped him on. Fiscal responsibility. My fucking ass. Free markets. You don't believe in free markets. Unless it profits to you. Unless you get the profits from it. Unless you get the money from it. You don't believe in free markets. You don't believe in free markets at all. But the 7th one, I really need to really focus on, because that to me is the biggest hypocrisy I've ever heard from the GOP. And we're talking about a party of people who are rife with hypocrisy. The 7th one he named was human dignity. They have never respected human dignity of American citizens, or at the very least, American citizens that aren't like them. Like the man the Republicans just elected as their House Speaker, as a majority of people who are members of Congress, who don't identify as the MAGA, who don't identify as Mary Jane Taylor Greene said, her words, who don't identify herself as white Christian nationalists. You don't respect human dignity. You don't. You don't. You never did. Whenever a hate crime happens in this country and the perpetrator happens to be white, identifies himself as white Christian nationalists or MAGA, or identifies themselves as fighting the many conspiracy theories pushed out by white Christian nationalists like Tucker Carlson. Don't think I haven't finished with you, motherfucker. Don't think for one fucking second I am done with you. Whenever a hate crime like that happens, you say nothing. There's crickets, or at the very least, beyond those crickets, you just give the old axiom of thoughts and prayers. Whenever a school shooting like Uvalde, Texas happens, whenever a mass shooting like the Buffalo supermarket happens, whenever the church in Charleston, South Carolina happens, where the victims are not white Christian nationalists, you say nothing. You do nothing. You say, sucks for them, thoughts and prayers. That's all you say. Nothing. Nothing. And I'm going to give you the perfect example right now, because all I've been seeing for the last couple of weeks is how people who are screaming for peace in the Middle East after the attack, after the retaliation by Israel against Hamas, a counterattack that is costing civilian lives on both sides. We're being called anti-Semitic because we're calling for peace. We're suing for peace. Where were you? Where were those voices of, we have to stand for our Jewish neighbors, our Jewish brothers, our Jewish Americans, when the Tree of Life Synagogue was shot up in November of 2018? Where was Donald Trump when that happened? He didn't say anything. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments below. If I'm wrong about the right wing not saying anything, or the MAGAs not saying anything after that shooting, put it in the comments below. I'll put in a retraction. But I don't remember any of you motherfuckers cheering on, saying that we finally got our man, we're finally going to take back the House, we're finally going to take back our country, we're going to finally impeach Biden, all the shit you're talking about, rather than working for the American people. I'm wondering, where was this anti-Semitic, this talk against anti-Semitism when that happened in 2018? It was nowhere. Nothing. It didn't exist. It was quiet. It didn't exist. See, the real problem I have with a lot of Donald Trump supporters here and now cheering this man who the New York Times actually said was the most important architect of Trump's big lie. You're cheering this on. You're cheering him. A man who tried to steal an election in 2020 is the fact that he goes out and says these are the most important principles of America that make our country the greatest on earth. And every single one of these 7 principles, the GOP MAGA, under direct orders of Donald Trump, because sooner or later he's going to follow. They're going to follow his orders. Would burn those principles to the fucking ground. Mark my words on that. They will do it. They'll do it. He's already made threats that he's going to destroy a part of the Constitution earlier this week. He's already made threats that if he's not reelected, if he's not on if he doesn't get the nomination, that his supporters are going to burn down the country. You don't care about the 7 principles you named. Those principles are transitory to you. They will burn those principles down if it suits their Lord and Master Donald Trump. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, they will do it without hesitation. So I'm going to just say this to you, Johnson. I don't trust you. A lot of Americans in this country don't trust you. You're just another Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan just didn't get elected. You're just another Kevin McCarthy who will tear this country apart just for the sake of Donald Trump. We know you're not going to focus on the people or the things that you and the rest of the MAGA actually campaigned on. Don't think we forgot about those promises you motherfuckers made. And how many of those promises did you keep? Nothing. All you've done is try to create this Get Biden squad. On what? Do you have criminal charges against him? Do you have evidence proving that he's a criminal? No, you don't. All you're doing is placating Trump. And to hell with the rest of the country. In the end of the day, this is the country we're living in now, where democracy is optional. And thanks to people like Johnson and the rest of the MAGA who cheered on, not to mention one who actually screamed in the House chamber that they are proud to be election deniers. They're the ones who are burning this country down. You just gave Mike Johnson the match. God help all of you. You see, those 7 principles that you named, Johnson, I believe in those principles. I really do. And when the going gets tough in my life, in the life of my nation, I'll still believe in those principles. But you and the rest of the MAGA have shown what you are in the last 7 years. You've shown that those principles can be shelved once Donald Trump opens his mouth. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.